Hey, it's Bill Gross, the LA probate expert, with my weekly real estate market update. Where are all those worries about a housing crash and a housing market? Watch them evaporating right before our eyes. You know, ever since COVID started, there were predictions of a housing crash. And immediately, in fact, the opposite happened, right? If you remember back in the early days when the economy was shut down, the assumption was who's going to buy houses? The answer was a lot of people tried to. And with lower demand, people jumped on what was available. And here we are now 2 years later. Are we out of that COVID? We're somewhat out of it, 9% out of it. I don't know how you want to define that. But the economy is going back towards normal for sure. And the real estate market as well is going back to a normal but still a healthy market during a time of inflation. Just last week we had massive changes in the stock market, the bond market, crypto markets were just individual product crashing. Overall, the market making massive adjustments. Have houses adjusted as well? Well, certainly houses don't change in price as quickly, but the market overall continues to be very solid. And let me show you why I think that is and where we're going to be going forward into the future. So this is an amazing statistic that I think every single week this year, on Friday, rates have gone up. I talked about that a couple weeks ago. And this is the first week where the overall average rates have come down. So while the average rates of closings have continued, these are the rates that are being quoted right now. This is the equivalent of the stock market for mortgages. And you can see that in the last week it went down. Now, it didn't go down tremendously. We closed the week at 5.38, but we were as high as 5.55. So it's a good sign. Now, does that mean we've peaked? I don't have a crystal ball. Well, I do have a crystal ball, but it doesn't tell me anything. But I don't really know until the news changes what the future holds. But this would say that whatever pressure the mortgage market had on us is about to slow down. And I think that's an important factor that's going to affect us positively going forward. Now, for the last couple years, if you've gone onto YouTube or watched the news, commentators were constantly talking about a housing crash. And the reality is now you're starting to see investors and experts actually back off that and acknowledge that our market is going to go up next year, maybe 5-6%. Now, that's not good if inflation's up by 8 or 10%. There's some problems that are there. But certainly nobody today that I'm aware of is predicting a housing crash or crisis other than influencers trying to get fake attention. But the predictions now seem to indicate that the inventory shortages will continue. They'll prevent a housing crisis. Buyers are still looking to buy property. There are many buyers who were shut out last year who are looking to buy. The demand will remain high, and overall, there'll be less inventory available for buyers to buy. So I think overall, the market will continue to be solid for buyers. They'll be aggressive and competitive, and for sellers, a chance to sell a property. What's the driving factor? Well, it continues to be inventory. And let me show you what I mean by that. There are different ways to measure it. This is, I think, the best. Terradata, I think, has the best data nationally. And you can see that nationally, inventory still declined. It's still well below last year by 26%. It's still well below 2 years ago by 50%. It's still well below the prior years by even more than that. We have historic low rates. And one of the challenges is with rising interest rates, many sellers sold a house, took cash, and bought a house. They're still fine. But there are other sellers who want to sell, put some money down and finance it. The interest rate for those buyers just went up. And now those sellers will maybe not put their property in the market, which will cause a little less inventory or a little more competition for the inventory that's left. So we continue to have this challenge. I follow a great blog. I linked it in my email below, a calculated risk blog, where he talks about that the market today looks like 1978 or 9, not 2008 or 9. 2008 or 9, we had this artificial mortgage market where people who never qualified bought not just one, but 2, 5, 10 houses. And when those artificial mortgages stopped being produced, the market fell apart. That's not the case today. Almost everybody who got a mortgage in the last few years had to qualify with credit, income, in many cases down payment. And so even if rates go up or the housing values go down, they can afford to make their payments. That's a big difference. Now, you know that I follow the real estate industry, and I really maintain what my thesis is, that the real estate industry press is worse than the news press or the political press as far as fake news. Let me show you an example. This is the winner of the week that I think is the most deceptive educational piece that really is very deceptive. It's to get you interested into their website. So here's Zillow, great overall source of information. And the heading is listings highlighting eco-friendly features sell up to 10 days faster. Not on average, up to 10 days faster. Now, everybody wants to be eco-friendly. It sounds great. It's kind of like a free pass if you say you're eco-friendly. Like many times though in that eco-friendly marketing, this is just, I think, glomming onto that effect and not really providing value. Notice, for example, it's not a charging station like a Tesla or one that you might build in your house that's outside. This is a cable to a power outlet, and so you can buy those adapters for about $2,000. So we're not talking about an expensive investment. If a seller could in fact sell their house up to 10 days faster, who wouldn't buy a charger? Or more importantly, why would they just buy it on their own? So I noticed that picture, and then here's a kind of guess. I don't really understand what that's about. Notice the 3 bullet points. The first one, electric vehicle chargers and drought-resistant landscaping can help homes sell more than 9 days faster than smaller homes. Electrical vehicle chargers, it says up there, and then when you tear into the data, I always look at the data, you'll see that the EV charging station, they claim, based on their data, the homes sell 9.5 days faster. They haven't explained, is that because homes with one built in are nicer homes, or better kept, or updated compared to homes that are not updated? None of that data is accounted for. And look here, the cost of value is 0, meaning it has nothing to the value for a seller. They put in that charger for their own use, and they're going to walk away from the entire cost. But really, to sell your house faster in 10 days, you could buy a charger and for $2,000 install what they seem to claim. Now, nobody's going to do that because it just doesn't make sense. I think at the end of the day, they're overselling the impact. Take a look also at solar panels. There's another one. So solar panels, they say, add 1.4% price premium, but sells slower by 2.6 days. Well, that seems odd. Slower is bad. How can that be? 1.4% more is good. So if your average home price is, say, $5,000, that means that buyers are paying about $7,000 more for the solar panels. Okay, maybe that's about what it costs for a depreciated set of solar panels, are a couple years old. But if you're talking about a $1 million house, that would be 1.4%, $14,000. That's not a good deal at all. So I think that the numbers are skewed and that you need to break down within those numbers. Are we talking about higher priced homes, average homes? Are we talking about retail ready versus fix and flip properties and investor properties? We know investors are buying 20% of the homes. They're not going to be as upgraded. The other ones are going to sell for more. And is this data just chasing that? I don't mean to really dig in the weeds. What I want to show you is that oftentimes we get these articles that sound exciting, but at the end of the day, they're somewhat misleading. What do we look at? Let's look at the market mortgage rate. That will change. If it changes, the market could change. Let's watch the inventory levels. If they go up, the market's changing. But for now, the inventory is not changing. So if you're looking to sell a house, this is a great time. You're going to get great terms. Lots of buyers. I had deals that buyers backed out of, and another buyer stepped right in last week. If you look at buyer property, the good news is maybe instead of 10 offers, there's only 3 offers. And if you work hard and you work with a great agent, you can get your offer accepted. So I'm here to help you if I can in any way. Bill Gross, thelaprobateexpert.com. Call me, text me, email me if I can help you. And remember, make today your best day ever. Thank you so much.